Alright, welcome to another edition of the Stoneforge Trials. Today we're going to be playing Blue-White Spirits. This is a deck that I've played against once or twice throughout our Stoneforge League matches. And I felt like there's a pretty good synergy here between Spell Queller and Stoneforge Mystic. You play the Stoneforge Mystic, and then on the next turn you either have the option of being able to Spell Quell whatever your opponent's turn 3 play is, or turn 2 play is, or be able to put your Batterskull into play. Something I thought was pretty strong, and I feel like this fits pretty well with this package. So we're going to run this through a league and see how it does. I think that this league is going to be one of the last leagues we're playing where we're taking a more or less established deck list and trying to jam Stoneforge Mystic in. I think from here on out we're going to be doing a lot more building our own decks and tweaking some of the decks that we've already tried. Black-White Tokens is a deck that I'm pretty interested in trying to mess with a bit. Also some of the mid-range Abzan builds we've been playing before. And a couple others that I'm interested in just brewing up myself. So, just give you a bit of a sneak peek at where the Stoneforge Trials is heading from now on. This hand looks solid. We've got some early plays. Stoneforge Mystic, some interaction. Looks solid. We will lead off on a Steam Chrome Coast. Have either Path or probably more likely Spectral Sailor open. See what our opponent is on. Looks like it could be Ad Nauseam. Ad Nauseam seems likely. Go ahead and put in a Spectral Sailor. Go to our turn. This is kind of tough. We'd really like to play an Aether Vial, but at the same time, it's going to slow us down pretty substantially. I think we'll just get a Stoneforge Mystic down this turn. I think getting Batterskull into play could speed our clock up quite a bit. And we really want now is just some sort of interaction, probably really just a Spell Queller. Though I don't know, it's not going to hit the Ad Nauseam or the Angel's Grace, so maybe we're just on the get our opponent dead ASAP plan here. Our opponent at least does not have a Lotus Bloom coming down, so they're really not doing much ramping. No Pentad Prism yet, so we might just be able to aggro them out here. A little bit tough to say. Don't think they're going to run too much interaction in their main deck. Maybe like Pact of Negation combined with Angel's Grace would be the best thing, although we now do have a Lotus Bloom in place, so we're on a clock now. This land is pretty solid. It's going to let us play the Aether Vial and the Batterskull this turn. Although we should probably calculate if the Rattlechains is faster. Kind of doubt it will be. We'll let our opponent play their turn and see what we come up with. This looks like it's going to be a Phyrexian Unlife, probably. Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much going to mean we're not going to... next turn's going to go to 1, and then it's going to come into play. So I think we pretty much just have to hope that our opponent is not going to have the combo all wrapped up. So our opponent top 2 cards with their Serum Vision, so seems pretty likely they're going to have it, but we'll play it out and see. If we can find a Spell Queller, we could Spell Queller the Lotus Bloom. Might be our best shot here. Actually, drawing a card with Spectral Sailor might just be the best option that we have, so I think I'll go ahead and do that. So I think our line to winning here is going to be spell coloring their Lotus Bloom. So we're just going to play to our outs. We're also going to be able to put Rattle Chains in off the Aether next turn and draw a Skull Captain the turn after that, if we get that far. Our opponent could also very well just be able to cast everything without the Lotus Bloom, but we will see. Stoneforge, not what we wanted. Go ahead and take this up. I think we're still on finding a actually, at this point, it's not going to make a difference. So is there anything we can do to make things more likely to work out in our favor? Not really coming up with anything. Yeah. We could put Stoneforge into play, get a sword, put the sword into play, equip the sword to something to get an extra 2 damage in. That still doesn't seem especially likely to do anything. So maybe we can deal 11 damage to our opponent, 6. I don't think so. So we're just going to go ahead and attack and see what our opponent's got. Don't expect this line to work out, but not much more we can do about it at this point. We would be in a pretty good position against most other decks, I think. We have a Selfless Spirit we can put in against a Wrath or against some other sort of removal. We can flash in Rattle Change, we can draw a card. We could be putting in Stoneforge Mystic to get an equipment, but we have Path for interaction, but our interaction is just really not lining up against Ad Nauseam here. If our opponent still doesn't have the kill, we might just still draw another card looking for a Spell Queller. I think that's pretty much the interaction we're looking for. It still doesn't really do much against either Angel's Grace or Ad Nauseam, but it's really the best form of interaction we could be finding. At this point, we're putting our opponent to negative life next turn, and I assume pretty easily killing them the turn after that. Mausoleum Wanderer is another card that can represent some interaction in this matchup. But we did not find any of those. Looks like our opponent probably has the combo. Though it looks like they might just be casting Ad Nauseam now. That is unexpected. Okay. Oh, no, they have Unlife in play. Right, of course. I'm silly. Yeah, okay, so they can win in any number of ways. They've got the Thassa's Oracle, they've got Lightning Storm. Just curious if they're going to show us any more of their deck. I mean, the Thassa's Oracle is just a win. Well, they need to keep revealing cards. I mean, I guess they can steal... If they don't do their entire deck, I can path their Thassa's Oracle? Yeah. This looks like pretty standard build of Ad Nauseam nowadays. I'm not really seeing any surprises. This all looks pretty standard. Opponent's like debating about a lot of things. They got the Simian Spirit Guides and Lightning Storms, so maybe they just are scared to exile their entire library in case there's some reason that I might go wrong. At this point, I think I can just go ahead and concede. I guess I'm a little bit curious to see which one they're going to play. Yeah, I'm just going to cast the Thassa's Oracle. Okay. I'll draw a card, because why not? Sure. Okay, let's see. Disdainful Stroke can counter an ad nauseam. Force seems very good. Teferi actually seems like it could be pretty good. They can't... No, it doesn't actually seem that good. Deputy might be okay. I guess it's really a matter of what we're taking out. Also, these paths seem bad. Selfless Spirit doesn't seem great. Rest in Peace, Celestial Purge, not relevant. Damping Sphere could be okay. I think I can actually cut the Selfless Spirit, and I can bring in Teferi, Damping Sphere, Deputies. Deputy can hit the Phyrexian Unlife, Damping Sphere. I mean, just have to cast a few spells. It's not a ton, but it's still enough, I think, to slow them down a bit. And I just don't think these cards, like the Selfless Spirits, are okay. Does Teferi stop them from doing anything? Does it actually stop them from doing anything? I don't think it actually does. Because they can just cast the... They can't cast Lotus Bloom. That's true. But they can still like cast Angel Grace, then cast Ad Nauseam, then cast... Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the things they do with their hold priority, but that's just the Lightning Storm. But stopping Lotus Bloom is relevant. I think this is fine. This seems okay. It's a pretty hateful hand. But it also has an Aether Vial, so I can get a lot of our creatures into play. Yeah, I'm pretty okay with this. Would really like to have a little bit more pressure, but Stoneforge Mystic is a pretty decent playing pressure by herself anyway, so I think this is fine. Not entirely sure if the Stamping Sphere should be in. It's like, it taxes their combo a little bit on their combo turn. Because they're going to be casting, I mean, if they don't have the Unlife, they're going to be going Angel's Grace, Ad Nauseam, and like Lightning Storm or Thassa's Oracle. Don't know that I'm having a good turn to play it now, though, because I'm playing the Stoneforge Mystic here. Actually, am I playing Stoneforge Mystic here? I could just play the Damping Sphere and Violin Stoneforge on my next turn. It's kind of an interesting question. Don't know what our opponent's thinking about. Being a little bit slow here. So what do we do here? I think we actually do just cast the Damping Sphere. It's a turn slow on the Stoneforge Mystic, but I think that's okay. Just try to slow our opponent down a little bit. Yeah, if they're also casting a Lotus Bloom on their combo turn, then that'll slow them down even more. So that's pretty great. Spellqueller is also excellent. We will Spellquill almost anything they play. Well, any combo piece. I'm not gonna Spellquill cantrip. I also have a Stroke for Ad Nauseam. but I will definitely jump on a Phyrexian on life. Looks like they're not doing that now because I cast Serum Visions. Okay, I'll go ahead and put Stoneforge Mystic into play. We'll get the sword because we already have the Batter Skull. That bit was kind of unfortunate. We will take this up, so we can put a Spell Queller in for free. Do I Spell Queller the Lotus Bloom? That's the question now, I think. We'll give another turn, see if they play an Unlife. Rattle Chains. Okay, we're just going to sit tight. Stoneforge is going to put Batter Skull into play. Or we stroke something, and we have Spell Queller to come down. Opponent doing nothing. Okay. Here comes Batter Skull. This will be a no now, because we want the Spell Queller. We'll go ahead and attack. I'll actually leave Stoneforge Mystic back to block, because I could put in the sword. I think I will play this Aether Vial. I don't see myself casting any two of these spells, and Spell Queller is coming in for free. Now, do I Spell Queller this? I think that I do. Do I? Yeah, I think I do. Opponent's definitely behind on lands. See if our opponent has something to say about this. We still have Stroke Up for Ad Nauseam, so we're not completely helpless, even if our opponent has something going on here. I think at this point I'm going to want to, let's see, I'm hitting for 7, so Rattle Chains would make it 8, 9. I think I do want to put the Rattle Chains in here. Let's go ahead and give that Hexproof, it's fine. This one is a no. The other one is a yes. And I don't think the sword is ever coming out to play because we're leaving Stroke Up at this point. But that's fine. We've got a pretty nice army put together. So gaining a bit of life could be relevant against the Lightning Storm, but I don't think that will end up mattering. See if our opponent is able to piece something together, and it looks like they will not. Okay, I think we can just run this back. We drew quite a bit of our Inerks in that game. We drew a Damping Sphere, we drew a Disdainful Stroke. I guess the thing we were kind of missing a bit maybe was Force negation. Could really use one of those. This hand could use a little more hate. We do have a deputy, but that's not that much. I think I want to dig for a little bit more disruption. Even just a spell queller would be great. This Teferi, it's kind of okay. I think we'll keep this. It's definitely not the best. But we do have a couple plays lined up for our turn, so that's okay. We will fetch probably Batterskull. I don't think this sort of Fire and Ice is doing too much for us. I'm really curious. I'm still really curious about Damping Sphere in this matchup. Brought it in, but it was more me taking cards out than bringing it in. Opponent's going 2 to the bottom. It's just good to note. I'd like to draw a 1-drop here. Nope. Getting to 4 lands is not too bad. That way we'll be able to both put in our equipment and cast the Rattlechains on turn 4 as it stands. Scry is also going to the bottom. So our opponent not too successful at finding whatever it is they're looking for. Second Rattlechains. Actually wonder if Rattlechains is just going to be a faster clock for us. I mean, if we're not putting the equipment in next turn, then Rattlechains this turn is definitely better. In fact, we should have just waited until their end step, but that's fine, I guess. Actually, that's not true, because that's implying that we could go Stoneforge and put the equipment in play on the same turn, which is obviously not a thing we can do. So here I think we Teferi bounce the... Well, we could wait a turn, actually. That way we'll at least be threatening to have interaction up. Yeah. Opponent has been scrying to the bottom a lot, though, so it's definitely possible they don't have what they need. This might actually be a Teferi plus here. Just because I don't want to, like... Next turn, they're not necessarily going to be bottlenecked on mana, right? It's the turn after that I would want to be worried about. Or maybe even the turn after that, depending what they do. So I think next turn is the turn that I want to Teferi minus. But for the time being, I think I can Teferi plus. And if that's the case, maybe I should just be playing a different spell, but I think I would rather be mana efficient and get Teferi down. This way on my opponent's combo turn, they'll be facing this decision of needing to unlife and play their ad nauseum, which might choke them a little bit. We hope, anyway. In the meantime, I'm just trying to figure out how to deal as much damage to our opponent as we can. That is not good. I believe that we've probably just lost the game. That was a reason to bounce the unlife this turn. Our opponent's just going to play Thassa's Oracle. They named Treetop Village. Okay, well, that would seem to be the end of the game. Well played, well played. Alright, that's a matchup where combo decks are sort of just doing combo deck things to you. Could have tried to mulligan towards better disruption, but I think that's how things will go there. Would a Traditional Spirits hand have been better? Yeah, I mean, Stoneforge was not being especially aggressive. Well, it's not what Stoneforge Mystic is typically doing for us. This hand... Sand does cast Mausoleum Wanderer. It's got a 1-2-3 curve and a bunch of 2-drops, but we just don't know if we can cast any of them, so I think we have to mulligan this. This is a sort of disciplined mulligan. Sand is fine. We'll keep it. We'll put, I think, a Mausoleum Wanderer back. I just don't think we need 2 of them. We'll just diversify our hand as much as possible. We'll lead on Mutavault Aether Vial, so the Mutavault could possibly attack next turn. Not that I think the Mutavault will be attacking, but it is possible. Opponent is on Basic Island. What does Basic Island mean? Opponent forcing our Aether Vial. Okay. Not in love with that, but I don't completely hate it. I do actually kind of hate it. Okay, we'll just pass here. We'll flash in the Rattle Chains. And we'll do Spirit things. I don't think we're playing Stoneforge Mystic right here. I think our opponent looks like they just are going to be on straight up blue-white control. We'll see if this resolves. Looks like it will not. In that case, I think we'll just tap out for a strong Sorcery Speed Thread and Stoneforge Mystic. Rattle Change is good. That's something else that we can use to force action our opponent's end step, but I don't want to do that now because we have a window where our opponent is tapped out and we get to resolve something. I'm actually going to go with the Sword of Fire and Ice because we have a decent number of creatures, and I think there's a good chance we'll be able to get one of them through. So I think Sword is going to end up being better than Batterskull here. That is not something I was expecting. Really wish I had a second blue here so I could play Wanderer and leave up Rattle Chains. I'm definitely feeling the lack of my, Aether Vial at this point. We could have had a lot more value going on in this game if it weren't for that. But that's okay. We'll put a sword on, and I think we stand a decent chance of getting something done. Problem, of course, is our opponent has a Monastery Mentor in play. That's fine. Serum Visions, sure. That is quite the Serum Visions art. Okay. So I get to kill your Monastery Mentor now. This seems strong. This land is excellent. Don't think our opponent is going to have any prowess to stop this from working. Good, good. And that's fine. We might play Rattle Chains here. We also have Mausoleum Wanderer Sacrifice up, which could be relevant. Opponent can attack us, that's fine. We'll shoot down their monk anyway. And I very much like our position here. That's a batter skull. That's pretty cool. Path to exile. I think we can try to put rattle chains in. This might hit a counterspell, but that's fine. And this is targeting that. Rattle chains target spirit. Yeah, this target spirit. This targets the Muslim Wanderer. Why is this not working? This targets this. Why did this make me target spirit gains hexproof? Is this not a spirit? Oh, it has protection from blue. Oh. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, well, that's good to know. Yeah, I'll get my basic land. I will pass turn because I will leave up the option of putting Batter Skull into play. Frantic Inventory, okay. Is this a Supreme Verdict? Is it Teferi Time Raveler? Okay, that's fine. Plus or minus? Sure. This does mean that I'm not going to be able to kill the Teferi, which is pretty annoying. Still feel like I'm in pretty good place here. Spellcoil is great if I could cast it. So we're gonna go you at Teferi and you at our opponent, because Sword Trigger will kill Teferi. So if we have a removal spell, then this won't work. But it will still require a chump, in theory. Oh, come on, come on. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure. Okay, well, we will try to survive. Put a couple spirits in play. Our opponent's only got one card. I think this might work out. Cool. Alright, against control. I think Force is probably fine. I think Teferi's probably solid. I think Deputy's probably fine. Cage is okay, it stops Snapcaster shenanigans. Rest in Peace might be okay, I don't think Rest in Peace is doing that much. How many paths do I need? I don't feel like our opponent has too many creatures. They have Monastery Mentor, but I think we're probably okay with 2. And then I didn't see any Supreme Verdicts, but I also didn't see any Stoneforges or Shark Typhoons or any sort of Sharkblade stuff, so I think Supreme Verdict needs to be on my radar. I think maybe I just sort of trim a Stoneforge and a Supreme Verdict. Or a Supreme Phantom. I think that'll be okay. Seems like a fine hand. Really like Spell Queller here, although definitely worse on the draw than it is on the play. Cavern of Souls is kind of interesting here. Also got a lot of colorless lands. So we'll presumably end up naming Spirit, although we're not doing anything this turn. Don't think I want to lead on Mutavault, so we'll just lead on the Misty and pass. Moorland Hunt could definitely do something interesting in this game, although I feel like by the time we're getting to the point where we're activating it, our opponent's going to be out pretty far ahead of us. Yeah, just cantripping for now. I think for the moment I just want to resolve a Stoneforge Mystic. Ooh, Spell Snare. Was not expecting that one. This is going to be a Teferi. That would be pretty annoying. Monastery Mentor. Okay. Well, it's a little bit irritating. How shall we do this? I think I kind of like to play 2 creatures here, so I think I'll just go with the Selfless Spirit and the Mausoleum Wanderer. I'm going to go ahead and play this on Spirit. Spirit, not Soldier. So I can play this. I'm also going to make my Spell Queller resolve, so that's nice. And we'll just go ahead and let this be. Does it counter non-creatures or instant? It only counters instants and sorceries. Okay, that's fine. I can let that resolve. Grab a land. Yeah, opponent going off here with the monks a little bit. We'd like a Rattle Chains here, just so that we could play the captain at instant speed. Opponent is definitely doing a bit more of a tap out kind of thing. I really wish I had another mana to be able to back this Teferi up with something. Yeah, I'm just a little bit short here. Play the Moorland Hunt and make a 1/1. I can play an uncounterable Spell Queller. Is that going to be good enough? I'd just really like to have Teferi with Spell Queller back up. Our opponent's land short, so I might just be able to play Teferi, bounce, or even play Teferi plus. Hmm. And just, like, jump the Monastery Mentor? Just don't feel like our opponent is getting much done right now. Okay, that's not really what I wanted to see. Oh dear. Okay. I don't think I was going to be doing terribly well against that fairy anyway. I guess if I had the Spell Queller up for it is what I really needed to do. Yeah. This just, did not work out well. Sure. We can pack this one in. We'll run it back. Okay, day double Aether Vial, little not what we want to see, but maybe that'll be fine against Force. And we've got some creatures we're putting in anyway, so that is fine. Also just match up well against our opponent's counter magic. So any hand with violent creatures I'm pretty okay with. Yes. And our creatures will be online shortly. Put that in. Fetch. I really don't know why these triggers don't automatically go on the stack. It's very strange. I don't think I need to worry about anything here. I'll just go ahead and smash on in. If opponent has a Monastery Mentor, we'll be able to Violent and Deputy Detention, Frantic Inventory, sure. Is the card Modern playable? Unclear to me. Sure. I can bounce an Aether Vial, huh? Yeah, I mean, we'll put a Spirit in. Okay, so this is going up to 2 now, so another Selfsome Spirit can go in, a Rattle Chains can go in. Attack to Fairy, attack opponent. And I'm actually kind of considering not playing this Aether Vial. So I can Rattle Chains and Selfless. I think that's fine. Opponent with a full hand. It's a little worrisome. But we've got a lot of different things covered in a lot of different ways. I should have been paying attention to how my opponent's been scrying. So bottom with that opt, because they've only scryed once. We have definitely given our opponent some information by not casting this Aether Vial. Specifically that we're looking to do something with our 2 mana. That being a Rattle Chains. We can go ahead and put Selfless Spirit in play here. That's fine. And I might not even go up to 3 right now, just because now I can put this Rattle Chains into play uncounterably. Yeah, I think I'll leave it on 2. That's pretty nice. Settler Wreckage is, like, in theory a card we could worry about here. That's a top. Okay. Path. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and put a Rattle Chains into play. I'm gonna target this. It's another Rattle Chains up. It's a Rattle Chains that might get countered, but still, we've got a lot of stuff on the board, and we're pretty insulated from a Wrath. So I like our position, as I often say. I may actually try to put Rattle Chains into play. So we're attacking for 7 here. Our opponent's at 8. Okay, we will give our creatures indestructible. And now I don't see a point in flashing in the Rattle Chains, because it'll still be a 2-turn clock. We'll leave that on 2. We will attack. And I think I'm actually happy to play the Stoneforge. Can grab something. Probably the Batter Skull. It's essentially a creature. Because as long as we're getting through with a creature, we're pretty happy our opponent's at 3. Sure. Got anything? You are putting probably Supreme Verdict. Now you're putting Path back on top. Okay, do you have an opt to draw it? Okay. I mean, this doesn't do anything, right? Sure. Okay. Spirit's coming out over blue-white control. Blue-white control is one of those decks I always just feel good about beating, because I feel like I always lose to them. I do tend to play mid-range decks that have a hard time against control decks, though, but it's just always, I always, it's a good feeling to me. I enjoy it. So, we'll take that win. We will take it. Yuika 4. There are 3 Yuikas, not 4. Okay. Aether Vial, 2 lands, caverns, looks like a solid hand. I think we'll lead on Cavern. Declares loudly what we're on, but that's okay. Burn. Burn, infidels. Burn. Appears to be what we're playing against. Okay, we will grab an island, and we will cast this Supreme Phantom. Can flash in a Mausoleum Wanderer to counter something, which we will do if our opponent tries to bolt our Supreme Phantom, probably. I think we would rather have a Supreme Phantom in play than a Mausoleum Wanderer. we will be able to quell something next turn. Yep. Yes. Put Mausoleum Wanderer into play. Counter this. Lightning Bolt is a kind of unusual turn 1 play for burn. Typically they would much rather be playing a creature or like suspending a Rift Bolt or any of a lot of other things. Suggests to me that our opponent might have a kind of weak hand. We're just going to leave Rattle Chains up for now. Rattle Chains and Spell Queller, that is. We've gotten through the first few turns pretty unscathed. Our opponent spending removal spells on 2 creatures. I think that we are going to... Do we Spell Queller this? I think we do. So we will also be able to have Rattle Chains to protect it. If they have 2 1-mana spells, then so be it. And I think we will just keep this Vial on 2. Since we have the Rattle Chains, I would really just like to protect it. Play a Mausoleum Wanderer now. Protection for the Spell Queller. See if our opponent wants to act now. They're going to deal me 4. Okay, that's fine. Mostly I just want my Spell Queller to stay around. And a Lord would be really nice here, but for the most part, I kind of just want... Well, opponent's got 4 cards, so... Searing Blaze. Okay, so this is when... Opponent has not played a land. That's interesting. Ooh, that's really interesting. Well, no, really what I just do is I just play Spectral Sailor. Give the Wanderer +1/+1. That is much better than playing the Rattle Chains right now. Opponent's suspending a Rift Bolt. So I think we're doing okay. We just need to close out the game before too long. I wonder if I'm supposed to be playing the Rattle Chains for that reason. It's definitely possible. Now I can start drawing cards, which is pretty nice. Only dealing 4 a turn, but as long as our opponent misses on like 1 or 2 draw steps, I think we'll be okay. See if our opponent tries to go face or just keeps on trying to keep our board in check. We're actually going to go for the Swift Spear. I will try to keep this locked down. We will protect that. You're dealing me 4. Okay. Can't do anything about that. Cool, cool. So we're at 8. But we've got a lot of your stuff locked down. I would trade here if you attack, I think. Seems fine. Now we get to draw some cards. That's a card. Think with this on the stack. Of course, I'm always yielding to it. No. Go ahead and put that into play to pump my Mausoleum Wanderer. And our opponent's just going to scoop it up. I don't feel like they quite exactly had that yet, but that's fine. I think we're just bringing in Core Firewalker, and Celestial Purge seems fine. Force Negation is kind of a maybe. I think... Ooh, I'm not actually sure what we don't want here. Darkskull Captain might be slow. Spectral Sailor is a bit of a later game thing. Worked out for us there a little bit, but could maybe also like shave an Aether Vial. much do I care about an Aether Vial? Like, it definitely has situations where it's great, but I might just rather have a Lord to close games out. Hard to say. I think we can leave it like this. This hand is not amazing, but I think it's fine. Can definitely get run over by a lot of faster draws here. Goblin Guide is not the start we want to see. It's going to give us a second Aether Vial. It's not what we wanted again. Play the one we drew since they have different arts. That situation actually coming up for once. Yeah, I think our opponent is probably just going to run us over this game. I think we're just being a little slow for what we need here. That's a path. That's something. That's awkward. I can't cast path with that. That's not how I meant to do that. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. Alright, well, Selfless Prayer can block the Goblin Guide. I can put a Mausoleum Wanderer in play to maybe counter something unexpectedly. I guess Riftbolt might be going at my Selfless Spirit. Nope, it's going at her face. Fine, fine. Sure. Get this land that we really wish was in play last turn and untapped. I think we're going to have a lot of trouble winning this game. Well, that is a Batter Skull. That is a Batter Skull. That is something. Go ahead and put this in. See if our opponent blinks now. As they should. Yep. Yes, put this in. Okay, so this is up to 2. We have a Batter Skull. This is not like the end of the world. So we can put a Selfless Spirit into play, which pumps the Wanderer. And we'll be able to hardcast a Batter Skull next turn. So if our opponent strings together 5 points of burn in the next 2 turns, which is pretty likely, honestly, but there's definitely a line where it works out. Spell Queller. That's really good, actually. That means that we are going to be taking this Aether Vial up, because it'll go to 3. And I'll be hardcasting a Batter Skull. I'll trade you here. I wonder if we should have traded the Wanderer. Probably not, because it represents a counterspell. I think we actually want this in play. Amazingly enough. Because that represents removal for this one, yes. This one also, yes. Because that represents putting the Spell Queller in. I should not accidentally fail to cast the Batter Skull. Okay, I think we win. We can Spell Queller anything relevant our opponent does this turn, and we'll be able to start getting life next turn. Our opponent would need like 2 must counter spells. Okay. Did not think we were going to get there. I thought our opponent was coming out the gates too fast, but I guess they just ran out of gas there a little bit. Yeah, countering that wear definitely not something I was expecting to be the correct play, but I do believe it is the correct play. 2-1 with blue-white spirits. I feel like we start off 2-1 with our Stoneforge Trial decks a lot and end up at the dreaded 2-3, but just gotta keep trying. Got to keep trying. I am liking the Stoneforge so far. I feel like, especially in an Aether Vial deck, I actually haven't tried too many Aether Vial decks, but just being able to drop the Stoneforge Mystic in on end step instead of having to tap out to do it is looking nice. I might look into trying to find some more Aether Vial-y decks. Humans would be a kind of interesting place to look. It's definitely not just going to slot into humans. I think you would have to rebuild humans pretty significantly to accommodate Stoneforge Mystic, but I am very intrigued by that possibility. This is a very interesting hand. It casts 3 of its spells, and any one land casts the rest of my hand. We're gonna try this. We are gonna try this. Even if I don't hit the land, I'm still doing relevant things. I wish I knew the matchup. That could probably inform what I'm doing a little bit better. It sort of suggests humans. Okay. Path is going to be pretty relevant here. Mausoleum Wanderer specifically, probably not so much. That is a Mutavault. I think I'll be content to flash into Rattle Chains here. See what our opponent is going to get up to here. Champion of the Parish, okay. We might need to path here. Meddling Mage. Okay, I think we're going to path now. An opponent with no more basics. Interesting. They might still name path. They've named Spell Queller. Okay. Okay. What do we want to do at this juncture? I think we will play a Selfless Spirit so as to pump our Mausoleum Wanderer. I just really want to make sure we're on the board. Actually, I guess I can just cast Rattle Chains at end step. Don't really know what to do. I think the thing that I don't really want to happen is Reflector Mage and keeping Rattle Chains around, not casting anything, plays around that. So I think that's what I'll do. Ultimately, I don't think I'm really doing anything with Selfless Spirit versus Rattle Chains anyway, so yeah. This is the sort of thing I don't exactly really want to see, but let's go ahead and flash in this Rattle Chains. That gives us a lot more flexibility for what we're doing in the future. Just go ahead and give that hexproof for no particular reason. Go to my turn. I could really use land. I think we're basically just doing nothing here. I could flash in Selfless Spirit, give Indestructible, and kill a Mantis Rider, basically trading Selfless Spirit for Mantis Rider. If I gave this sword in play, the sword would be amazing, but I think that will be difficult to make work out. There's going to be another Mantis Rider. That would be pretty unfortunate. Phantasmal image. Okay. Sure. Is another one? Thalia's lieutenant. Okay. You got it. Okay, so we're going to make this play I was talking about. Let me go ahead and cast this. I'm going to go ahead and go to blocks. And then we'll sack the Selfless Spirit to save our team. So we traded a Selfless Spirit for a Mantis Rider. Made sure to leave this one because it's the illusion that we could be able to target down with something. An Aether Vial. It's a little late to the party, but we will be able to flash in a Mausoleum Wanderer that could do something. And we're sort of just in a holding pattern right now. Not in a particularly good place. Reflector Mage. General Kudro. That is pretty good. That is quite... It's quite the army. Don't think we're really equipped to deal with that right now. Yeah. So we can cast this. This will be a 2/2. Yeah, I just don't really see a way that we're getting through any of this. Maybe we'll just like... Yeah, I don't think we really have a line here. Just sort of doing things. Maybe killing the Mausoleum or the Meddling Mage was better. I just don't have a Spell Queller or a land to be able to play the Spell Queller, so it doesn't really matter. I can skip this one up. For humans. Deputy seems like it could be good. Don't actually think very much of this looks relevant. Thinking... Rattle Chains actually doesn't seem that powerful. Let's just cast everything at instant speed, but actually Mausoleum Wanderer maybe is not what we want to be doing. Rattle Chains just letting us play everything at instant speed is pretty good. Teferi, I don't think is relevant. Yeah, our sideboard does not seem to be doing too much here. We really like some cheap removal spells, some fatal pushes, but we are not Esper Spirits. We are Blue-White Spirits. Okay, this is a 4-lander with an Aether Vial. A couple of Spirit Lords. Could be pretty powerful. I think we'll try it. Not super excited about this hand, but just having access to a lot of Lord effects, to a couple of Lord effects, I think could be pretty powerful. Let us keep up with our opponent's side of the board. We'll see how this plays out. I'm not really sure what to think of this hand. That's a good draw. It's going to make for a bit of an awkward turn. Well, it just means this Aether Violent 2 is going to go to waste. But that's okay. If this is a Meddling Mage on Spell Queller, I'd be kind of annoyed. I can still put it in off the Aether Vial, though. So that's pretty sweet. this. Ooh, another Supreme Phantom. Okay, deal. We are kind of just popping off here. Don't think our opponent's going to be able to do too much here. Think we should just be able to run them over. What do we have here? Kite Self Rebirder? I mean, I don't... Like, sure, fine, I guess. Like, I'm just not gonna bite. I'm gonna hold the Spell Queller. I mean, our opponent's gonna take... Our opponent's on a very short clock here. Okay, sure. Okay, well that keep worked out for us. We definitely drew well though. Oh, can't keep this, unfortunately. This hand will be okay. And I think we can throw a land back. See if we can get this done on the draw. See how aggressive of a hand our opponent has. Alright, they've got the Aether Vial. We've also got the Aether Vial. Also got a Path. That could be a very strong card. Champion into Noble. Seems strong. Do you have another 1-drop? No. Okay, good. Do we cast a 2-drop here? I think that we do not, but I do think we put this in untapped so we can put in Rattle Chains. Or possibly just path something. In fact, I think pathing something is looking more likely. Yeah. I think we probably should have put the Hell Fountain in tapped. Now that I'm thinking about it. Ooh. I did not think that through. I let that resolve far too quickly. Yeah. Yeah. Should not have done that like that. Yeah. Okay, well that's my fault. I lost this game. So if I had this path, I would be taking much less. Yeah. Yeah, I think I just need to cast the Rattle Chains here. I don't see a way I can come back and win this at this point. This champion is just too big. Really can't deal with it. I mean, I can deputy it, but I mean, I guess I can put... I don't know. There's ways I think I could win this. It's challenging though. This Lord is annoying, and I really should have converted this path. I would be in a way better position. This basically this deputy would be on like the General Kudrow. It would be the exact same board. There would not be a Rattle Chains, there would not be a General Kudrow, and I would be at like 16 instead of 10. Okay. Well, we can put Supreme Phantom in, which lets us block this, which will let us path the Kudro. That is extremely problematic. That will not let us path the General Kudro. Okay, I think we're dead. Yeah, okay. Alright, well, we definitely would have had an uphill climb to win that one if we had played correctly. Like we would have been at way less life. Basically, we would have used this path to path the Kudro. Opponent still would have had a deputy for something. Yeah. It's hard to say. I still don't think we would have won, but it would have been a lot closer. And, you know, that's just a good opportunity for me to remember to respond to your opponent's Aether Vial. So we're back to 2-2. Playing out for the winning record, as we often are here on Stoneforge Trials. Still have not found a shell for Stoneforge Mystic that I think is absolutely amazing. I think black-white tokens was the best thing we found, and I still want to experiment with some of the mid-rangey decks. I feel like there's a lot there that I just haven't really unlocked the potential of, probably because the builds we've been playing are pretty far off with whatever the optimal build would have been. And a lot of that is just because of my own inexperience and just inexperience with the deck and experience with building and brewing in general, and specifically how to build with Stoneforge and the particular decks I've been building. But I am looking forward to really getting into it once I've finished running through the last few deck ideas that I have to play, and we'll get refining. Go off and show off a couple sneak previews of what might be coming. This is a deck that was played on SG Versus Live last week. They did a bit of a modern show. They played a Bant Urzablade deck. This just looks like a ton of fun to me. This is maybe not something I think will be an amazing deck, but there might be something here. I'm really curious to see if there is. And kind of more than that, it's just an opportunity for me to have a little bit of fun with this. It's definitely my sort of deck, and we'll see how it goes. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. I think I will also probably run Green White Owls back again. I don't think we really had a good chance to see what that deck was capable of. Or specifically, I don't think we had a good chance to see how good or not good Stoneforge Mystic was in the Elves deck, because we went 3-2, but all the games we won, almost all the games we won through doing just sort of Elvesy, generating a ton of mana and attacking our opponent pretty quickly, and not Stoneforge Mystic, we never really even drew it. So really can't conclude anything there. And then I'm looking to get back into black-white tokens. So coming up, I think will be the Bant Urzablade deck. We'll run Green-White Elves through again at some point. I want to try brewing up just sort of a black-white mid-range. We've had both Mardu and Abzan mid-range, which both include black-white. But I want to try just a straight black-white kind of value grindy deck list. I think it'll have Luris main deck, Lingering Souls, Dark Confidant, those sorts of things. And I can probably come up with another deck or two in there just to fill things out. Again, we are going to be taking a bit of a break from all things Stoneforge Trial related next week for the release of Zendikar Rising. I definitely do quite a bit of limited. I haven't done a ton on this channel, but that is definitely something I enjoy a lot and something I think I'm pretty good at, so... Sure. Limited is something I enjoy a lot and something I think I'm pretty good at, so we are going to take some time next week on Thursday on release day for Zendikar Rising to jam out a bunch of Zendikar drafts, and I'm looking forward to trying to 4x that set. I should have played Moorland Haunt there so I can start making some 1/1s. I guess it's very likely I'll Spellquell or something this turn, so maybe it doesn't really matter. But I'm looking forward to getting back into Arena, getting back into a bunch of Limited, and hopefully getting our getting a collection together. Maybe we can even play some Historic or Standard on the channel at some point. Looking forward to that. Do I attack with the Spellquiller here? I feel like I can actually hold back, especially because I have another Spellquiller that can play defense. Castle Embereth is kind of scary. Well, I'm definitely content to make a Spirit and block the Abbot. This is going to mean no protection for the Spellqueller, unfortunately. You flashed back the Lava Dart? Yeah. Okay, well there's your light up the stage. That might have been a little aggressive. Don't know what I was really going to be doing in otherwise, though. Oh dear, are we just dead? Taking 11. Yeah, that one didn't work out so hot. Okay, well, we can play the Spellqueller as a 3/4 flyer. And I guess go like this. I'm sure our opponent can do a lot of things about this, but just a Castle Embereth activation doesn't really do anything. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah. Kind of like need a path here, or path probably doesn't really even do it. This gives me a 2/4 and a 3/3. This actually also lets me make a 3/3 with the Moorland Haunt. So I'm okay. It's actually like pretty decent. It's Moorland Haunt being surprisingly clutch. Sure. Okay, I mean, I still think this is pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it's still pretty good. I like it. Make it 3/3. Sure, play this. Yes, get a batter skull. Do I want the batter skull or do I want a sword? I think I just want the batter skull. And go. I'd like to try to turn the corner at some point. Don't think I can really do that yet. If they have a removal spell for the captain, yeah, that's something we didn't really want to see. That takes a lot of our power toughness off the board. Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. Soulscar Mage, when I first saw Soulscar Mage, I thought this, putting -1/-1 counters on things was pretty irrelevant, but the more and more I see this deck played, the more it just does some crazy things. Oh, you have another one? Oh my gosh. Oh boy. Well, let's keep making spirits. All of these are lethal, so that sucks. Came pretty close there. Friggin' lava dart, though. Alright, alright. Well, actually, if I just cast a batter skull, like, this is kind of okay, right? If they have nothing, I don't think they can attack. This would be like take 4, gain 4, right? I mean, I lose the germ. Is there any way I can just eat something? I think that's better. It takes 6, but gain 4, so I go to 2, and then I attack. Oh, I guess lava dart kills me, huh? Yeah. Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah. If I had blocked this instead, I would have taken 7 and gained 4. So I was still dead. Yeah, I was still dead. Okay. Alright, red-white, huh? Or red prowess. These cards all seem pretty good. That also seems decent. Still might not be enough. Those are for late game. I think Spellcore is going to be a little hard to protect. Maybe I just shave a little bit around the edges. Alright, 4 lands and just kind of a collection of spirits. Just don't really think this hand is winning it for us. It's fine, but it's not a good hand. This hand is doing a little more, although we're missing white mana. Actually, just nothing here is castable. I think we have to try going to 5. And we'll have to keep this. It's quite bad, but we do have an Aether Vial. So I think we're just putting back I mean, Core Firewalker is pretty much what we're gunning for here. So I think we're just putting back... stuff. And we'll see if this Aether... We'll see if Aether Vial and Core Firewalker can carry us to a win by themselves. Don't know what our opponent is thinking about here. Come on, opponent. Let's play. Let's play. We got magic to play. Opponent's probably just like AFK or tabbed out reading Reddit or something. Suppose I could do the same thing. I just accidentally turned on new Reddit. I can opt out of new Reddit. Well, I don't know what our opponent is up to. Just making us hang out and wait while we sit around and ponder our 5-card hand. Alright, well, I'm going to do something else while we're waiting for our opponent to get back. We're going to look at what cards in Zendikar Rising might be modern playable. I'm not going to spend too much time looking at cards that I don't think are going to be playable. Let's look at Archon of Emeria. 3-mana 2/3 flyer. Each player can't cast more than one spell each turn. Non-basic lands your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. Don't know that that goes anywhere super specific, but I could definitely see this going in some sort of white taxes list. Could be a sideboard list or a sideboard card for any sort of toolbox deck. I played Kiki Court. I might actually think about putting this in, although beating Eidolon of Rhetoric is pretty hard to do. Being 1/4 means it's doesn't die to Bolt. This is perhaps a better creature. It's a 2/3 flyer. It also has the relevant non-basic land clause, which is just cute. It also isn't an enchantment. A lot of times when you're bringing in Eidolon of Rhetoric, your opponents are going to be bringing in permanent-based hate, and they'll often bring in some sort of like enchantment, disenchant, something or other. So having your hate piece not be an enchantment is kind of relevant. So this, I could see this doing something in Modern. Seems to be playing with Archpriest of Iona. I saw the SCG versus live folks doing that. That was standard, obviously. I just don't. I can't see. It's really hard for me to see Party being too good in Modern. I mean, this could be like a 1-mana 2/2, with a little bit of work. But I mean, how good is that in Modern? Giving these +1/+1 flying. I mean, it's great if you get the whole party, but just don't see that really being a thing. It's gonna be way too hard to get a whole bunch of creatures in play. So I don't see that doing too much. You kind of always have to look at the lands. Having a plains that you have to pay 3 life to come in untapped, but has a 7-mana sorcery on the other side, creating 2 flyers. I mean, it's just kind of something you can throw in. Like, the cost of making some of your lands come and play untapped is... It's definitely there. I don't know that I would say it's huge. And the upside being, if you make it to the late game, you just get to cast the 7-mana thing. That's something that I see more happening in Standard. I think even in Modern, getting the 7 mana is just so rarely going to happen. But I would look to these sorts of, especially the rare and mythic lands, because they tend to be better, or just, have more powerful effects. I might look to those. Alright, well, looks like our opponent is back, so we can put that on hold. Not really banking on making this a card review stream, but if our opponent's not really doing anything, I might think about it. This is one I'm looking at more for standard, but this just seems like one of the most relevant spells, and also having a tap land on the other side. Thing damage equal number of creatures you control. Kind of hard to do in modern, but definitely I think one of the more powerful land spells in the set. Back to this game, we're just trying to get to 2 so that we can put a Core Firewalker into play and try to ride that to victory. We do not have a whole lot of other plans to win this game. I don't know that our opponent... Because like one of the ways you can often get around Core Firewalker is with Skullcrack, which will make it so you can't prevent damage, and protection does technically prevent the damage. I guess Stomp. I believe Stomp also says damage can't be prevented. So our opponent could Stomp a Core Firewalker if they know that interaction, which... Well, no, it has protection from red, so it can't be targeted by the Stomp. So they would have to Stomp us to say damage can't be prevented, or Stomp something else. So that's something we'll have to keep our eye out for. That is something we'll have to keep our eye out for. Anything else? I've seen people talk about Legion Angel. I actually missed this card during the card reveal preview season. 4 mana for a 4/3 that also just tutors a bunch more of these out from your sideboard is pretty interesting. I think that's definitely not powerful enough for modern, but it's also taking up sideboard space. But I could see that being fun for standard. Looking for modern playable cards. Again, rare land, flip lands, but 8 mana, destroy all non-land permanents. I don't think that's somewhere we want to be at. Skyclave Apparition. This is what I was looking at. This is something that I think I would probably actually put into Kiki Chord. I'm just always looking. I have currently a Fairgrounds Warden in my deck, and you know I think these you often see this sort of Oblivion Ring style effects where you get rid of something and then they'll get it back when they get rid of the Oblivion Ring or whatever the creature was that's Oblivion Ringing things. And I think the first thing I saw that sort of broke that mold was Thought-Knot Seer. Thought-Knot Seer we saw was very, very good because you exile the best card from their hand, but when they get rid of it, they don't get the card back, they just get a random draw off the top. And often they're just drawing like a land or some pretty irrelevant spell, whereas by definition, when you're Thought-Knot Seering them, you're taking the best card from their hand. And that delta between the best card that you're taking with Thought-Knot Seer versus the worst card, or an average card that they're drawing, besides Thought-Knot just being a 4 mana 4/4 and a solid body, makes Thought-Knot Seer just such an extremely powerful card that sees playing Legacy. And so I think also we're going to see a similar thing here. I think the delta between hitting a powerful 2-drop with a powerful effect or whatever it's doing, and then even if this goes away, they get a 2/2, which is significantly worse. And so this sort of also breaks that sort of symmetry in the same way as Thought-Knot Seer does, and I feel like we've seen another card or two that does that. So this is a card that I think is very powerful. I don't think it's going to go into a whole lot of decks, but at least for Kiki Chord, I'm really looking forward to that for Kiki Chord. Back here in this game, opponent has returned. We just have a Core Firewalker we can put in play, and can also start doing things here. So I'm actually going to cast the Stoneforge Mystic. Can get us a Batterskull. Fortunately, I think we do need to get a Hallowed Fountain here just to be able to cast whatever spells we might need to cast later on. We just kind of need to make sure we have the blue mana. But we'll go ahead and get our Batterskull. Kind of looking off to the side of the cards while I'm waiting for our opponent to do things. Also just kind of trying to skim through cards quickly that I've seen some of them before. Glasspool Mimic, 3 mana clone, only clones your things, but with the land on the other side. I think this one could be. I think this is a pretty generically strong card. Good enough for Modern, don't know. Clone effects, especially difficult to make work when they have to copy something you control. Again, Modern, pretty powerful. Often not having a whole lot of stuff around, same reason that I don't really think that Party's going to be a huge thing. But a 3 mana clone is pretty powerful. It's one of the reasons we saw Phyrexian Metamorph be a thing. It was just a 3 mana clone, and also Phantasmal Image, 2 mana clone. So it's I might look to this maybe being something. Confounding Conundrum. A lot of people talking about this because of Uro, more in Standard. I could potentially see it being a thing in Modern too. It's also just a cantrip. I would want to see something else going on with it too, though. That like, I don't really know. Maybe a Yorion tech that's able to blink it or something. Don't really know. I'm iffy on that one. Joy Disruption. 2 mana Force Spike with land on the other side. I could see that one being semi-modern playable. I don't think any of these cards are gonna be staples or anything. I'm sort of looking for things that like could potentially maybe see play. Negate, definitely modern playable. Seen that already. I'm curious. We've seen Kicker in a lot of sets. I'm kind of curious if there could be like a, not a good deck, I don't think, but like maybe a tier 3 Kicker deck. I don't know. I'd have to go look through things. Also, just one of the things with Kicker is I think Kicker makes for some pretty expensive cards or expensive things that you're doing. It's kind of hard for me to envision that seeing play in a format as powerful as Modern. If you were to try to build that deck, I would look to like Time Spiral, where a lot of the Kicker costs are like not mana. I think those things exist. They're like Kicker, Sacrifice Land, maybe. I'm not exactly sure offhand, but I would look to that sort of thing. Sure, we're getting Stoneforge Firebolted. That is unfortunate. At least now our opponent will not be able to stomp this turn, so we will be able to get a block on a Soulscar Mage. Our opponent, I don't know what's going on here. This sort of struck me as an odd mythic. 2 mana to copy another instant or sorcery. It's a very expensive Kicker cost. Just trying to skim through for anything else that seems sort of obviously playable. Don't think any of this is playable. It's all pretty expensive. Okay, let's put our core Firewalker into play. Go ahead and block. Do have a Selfless Spirit that would be good against a Stomp on the core Firewalker. It's possible I should have tried to hold this until later. Yeah, our opponent knows what's going on. They know how this works. Alright, well, I don't know what's going on with our opponent. They just, like, can't ever pass priority. It's honestly getting pretty old. But I don't see us winning this game, so... Black enchant removal. Cool color pie thing, but don't see that being too relevant for Modern. Abbot of Carol keep finding Abbot of Carol keep finding Abbot of Carol keep. It's kind of cute. I don't think we're pulling the trigger on anything here. Just gonna path something. Habit finding Bone Crusher Giant. So we have a path. We can animate our Mutavault, which might be able to get something done. On the other hand, we really want this Mutavault to live so that we can be casting a Battle Scroll at some point. I feel like that's the only way we can, like, really win this game. So maybe I have to block the Soulscar Mage and hope there's just no spell. But they also have Firebolt in their graveyard, so any land lets them cast that, which means they don't have lands, they don't have spells. What do they have? I wonder if I should have held off on blocking with the core Firewalker until I got the Selfless Spirit in play. It feels kind of hard to do that. Like, we're taking a lot of damage for theoretically nothing. So on the off chance that our opponent has a stomp, like, what are... I wonder, I should, like... I'm sure someone has done this already, but just, like, if your opponent has, like, 4 of a card, what are the chances that they have found one of those card by a certain turn of the game? I don't know. I should look into these things. Anyway. Enough rambling, enough spoiler chat. This was Blue-White Spirits. Again, this deck felt like it has some promise. I think a lot of these decks are just kind of feeling that way because they are just, you know, playable decks. So I'm sort of thinking what I really need to be doing to evaluate Stoneforge Mystic in these decks is, like, properly playing through the quote-unquote stock or accepted versions of these decks without the Stoneforge Mystic, and then playing through them again with the Stoneforge Mystics. I think what I'm learning through the Stoneforge Trials is that you can put Stoneforge Mystic into a lot of decks, and Stoneforge Mystic is fine. Whether or not the Stoneforge Mystic is good is kind of another question, and something that I have not really conclusively answered. I think I suffered some here in this league also, and I've said this a lot, but I just don't exactly know how to build a Stoneforge, or how to play a Spirits deck. Definitely some mistakes I think I made playing through this deck and playing through this league. But as I said, the Stoneforge Trials will continue. I was showing off Bant Urzablade that we're going to be trying out at some point. We're going to give Green White Elves another run, because we really didn't get to see how Stoneforge played in that deck. And at least one or two or more other decks of my own creation. But that's going to be it for the Stoneforge Trials for tonight. Hope you'll check back on my Twitch, on my YouTube. You are presumably watching this on my YouTube, so subscribe to my channel, see my new videos when they come out. Check out my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/rakkamar. We'll be taking a bit of a break next week on Thursday, and possibly for another 1 or 2 days, 1 or 2 streams after that to play some Zendikar Rising drafts. I am very excited to delve into a new limited format, especially with rotation, and try to start collection building, and maybe even getting into Standard. It's not something I do that often, but if I can get most of a set together, which I have a good amount of the previous year's worth of cards, at least the cards that are good and played, and some wild cards too. We'll see how that goes. I'm a little more bullish on Historic, just because I really don't have a lot of those cards. Probably need to spend a lot of wild cards crafting stuff, but we'll see. We'll see. Again, if you want to check all that out, check out my Twitch, twitch.tv/rakkamar, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and see all my stuff when it goes live. Thanks for watching this episode of Stoneforge Trials, and we'll be back on Monday. Have a great weekend. Bye.